Next up, at UFC 289, we've got I don't want to say a controversial fight, but a lot of people arguing back and forth who's going to win this fight. We got Dan Ige taking on Nate the Train Landwehr. Dan Ige, 16-6 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He is coming off the destruction of Damon Jackson. He's taking on Nate Landwehr, 17-4 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He is riding a 3-fight win streak. Dan Ige is a fantastic kickboxer. He's got speed. He's got power. He also has some pretty underrated BJJ and wrestling. His takedown defense looks low, right? It's listed at 52%. That's not a particularly high number, but this dude has only fought killers for the last 3 years. He did just break a 3-fight skid with a stoppage over Damon Jackson, and the real takeaway from that was, well, there's levels to this, because Damon Jackson, like Nate Landwehr, come forward pressure grappler, was on himself a nice little streak, had a knockout, a standing one-punch knockout. What are you doing? Am I blinking like that? Why are you blinking like an idiot?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Move on.
What is happening?
Move on, please.
Are people on my side in the chat? Is that what's happening? I hope so. Some of these people must have some real friends, or maybe not. That's why they're here. No offense, people. Actually, here on Tuesday is no big deal. Here on a Saturday, when your best friend is having a birthday party, is a big deal. Anyway, Nate is a wild man. He's going to come forward. I got to fucking minimize the screen. Nate is going to come forward, high-pressure striker, looking high-pressure wrestling, just constant pressure. He's absolutely wild. He's going to chase a finish at all costs. He's going to do whatever he wants. He is a talented guy. He's got power. He does have skills, but he just gets so caught up in the moment, so focused on having fun that he just loses opportunities, right? Like when he could be wrestling, he's just throwing bombs. When he could be, making something happen, he's not. What is happening? You're driving me nuts.
I'm just sitting here,
You're looking around. You're blinking like crazy. What is going on?
I'm just sitting here, man.
Good, yeah, fuck you. Cry it out. Fuck you. Nate can win this fight. He can come forward. He can have pressure. He can absolutely win this fight, but I think it's going to look similar to the Damon Jackson. I think we're going to see the levels here. I think Dane's not really going to have a problem with the craziness, not really going to have a problem with the pressure, and he'll fire back at his own pace there. And I think Dan Ige can get this done. Everybody talking about Dan Ige free money, I think that's nonsense. I think even minus 250 is a bit wide for a dude that is 2-3 in his last 5 and just beat a guy who hasn't really earned his keep just yet. I do think Dan Ige wins. He's going to be the much better fighter everywhere. But that pressure, that pace, that nonstop wrestling of Nate Landwehr could be a problem. The pick's going to be Dan Ige. I'm avoiding this with bets, and I think people using Dan Ige as a parlay piece could end up being Jamie Malarkey'd. What do you think?
Let me just first off saying that I am obviously, if you don't know my history, I'm very biased towards Nate the Train, one of the greatest lock of the weeks all the time. And everyone that's acting like a Nate the Train fan was the same people that were destroying me all week when I picked him as lock of the week versus David Onama. Oh my God, how can you pick him against David Onama? Came through as one of the greatest lock of the weeks of all time because I knew that he could break down David Onama, because that's what Nate Landwehr does. He just kind of breaks people down. Now, David Onama showed a lot of heart in that fight. He was not completely broken down. He was fighting back, but Nate did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He can break people down. Unfortunately, in this fight, Dan Ige is a guy that you cannot break down. I mean, you cannot break. He is just as tough as Nate the Train. So the fact that some people think that Nate the Train's going to come in and do what he does and just high volume and break this guy down, I don't see it happening. And when Nate does break people down, he still kind of waits around to do it. He'll kind of take his time. He's picking his spots. And while he is kind of waiting around, and he does kind of move forward, but while he is doing that, before he starts getting crazy, he is standing in front of people. He is boxing, and Dan Ige is the much better boxer in this matchup. So I love Nate the Train. He is going to be my pick in this fight because I think that he can make this a dirty fight. In my mind, Nate needs to come across, and he's got to pressure early. He's got to get the power out of the hands of Dan Ige, because Dan Ige's power especially in the pocket, in the boxing pocket, when they are nice and tight in the phone booth. The power that he possesses is very, very dangerous for Nate. If I was game planning for Nate, and Dan Ige is a good grappler, he's a good wrestler, but he can get kind of held against the fence a little bit at times. If I was Nate, I would come in and I would try to wrestle this guy immediately just to try and get some of the pop out of his shots, get some of the power out of his legs, out of his arms, get the blood flowing into his arms. So if you are in the pocket later in the fights, because Nate will stand in the pocket and do his wild stuff, the power is no longer there for Dan Ige. But I'm picking Nate, but this is a awful bad matchup for him because he's not going to be able to break Dan Ige down the way that he has in past opponents. And when he's standing in the pocket trying to strike with a guy like Dan Ige is going to land big shots. I think one of the most likely outcomes for this fight is Dan Ige hurts Nate. Nate now takes a bad shot because he's hurt and he's panicking, and Dan Ige is able to out-scramble him and find a submission in this fight. I don't think he's going to knock out Nate cold because Nate's a tough dude. He can work through those positions, but I think he's going to grapple out of desperation, get caught in a scramble, get submitted. That's probably the most likely outcome, but I'm going to stick with my dude, Nate the Train. I'm never going to pick against him until I see that he's finally going to lose again. I think he can definitely pull out a weird, sloppy decision. I hope he gets it done. I think it's better for everyone, no offense to Dan Ige, if he comes through and wins this wild. Even if he finds a finish, oh my God, that place is going to go absolutely insane. He's a fun dude. He would be great for the division to kind of keep pushing. Imagine him as a title contender. It'll be so much fun. I'm going to be rooting for him. I think a lot of people are going to be rooting for him, but this is a very, very dangerous fight for Nate Landwehr. I'm scared for him. He is going to be my pick, but that's not like a that's not like a pick where it's like, oh yeah, he picked him, so let's load up on Nate Landwehr. It's
yeah.
This is going to be a tough one, man. I'll be very surprised if he pulls this off. I hope he does.
I mean, it could literally look exactly like Dan Ige's last fight.
I don't have a bet. Somebody said, "Oh, so you're betting on Nate because you're a fan, not a smart bet." I don't have a bet on Nate Landwehr.
I mean, I think we've established a lot of these people just sort of say things. They just
say
stuff.
Man, do better.
Doesn't matter. They just say.
Picks are different. If you guys don't realize, just because we're picking people doesn't mean we're putting money on them. We're just making picks for picks. That's what we do.
Picks are different than bets.
If you want to see
all the bets.
If you want to see the bets.
$9,100 in DraftKings. Man, this is tricky. I might fade Dan Ige in DraftKings at $9,100. This could look, there's just too many questions here. This could look exactly like Dan Ige's last fight. Oh, I have an aggressive wrestler that hasn't really beat anybody high level. Watch what I do to him. Could look just like that. Or you could just straight up get outworked. That is a real possibility. So $9,100. Are you going to, I mean, well, you're on the other side, but you're definitely not spending 71.
I don't think he is my pick for this fight, but it's going to be a tough one if he pulls it off, man. I hope he does.
It should be this should be the featured fight. We'll break down the featured fight in a second. This should be the featured fight. This would be a fun fight. They're going to go at each other. There's a meaningful outcome from here. Nate's on a nice little win streak, fighting a ranked opponent.
Imagine this. Can I just put this scenario out there? I put it in Discord, and could you imagine this fight? Imagine, because I'm obviously, Viva Mexico. I love my Mexicans, so I feel good, and we'll break that fight down eventually. Actually, but the Yair, I'm talking about the Yair fight.
Well, you know what the theme is on Saturday? It's a fiesta. We got piñatas. We order Mexican food. We got a mariachi band, the whole thing.
Cool.
But go ahead. Tell us how much you love Mexico.
But imagine Yair wins the title. Let's say he defends it again versus Volk. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, it's not gonna happen." But let's just play pretend. Let's have some fun here. Could you imagine if Nate wins this fight, wins one or two more fights, and we get a title shot of Yair Rodriguez and Nate Landwehr? You know how fucking insane that fight would be? It would be absolutely bananas. Bananas. That's the dream.
I guess we'll see what happens. You want to see all of our bets and picks and everything else? WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. It is by far the most robust premium membership in this space. Period. End of story. Other people are trying to charge you $10 for a spreadsheet. We have that spreadsheet. It's included. Other people trying to charge you $10 for an optimizer.
If people are charging more than $10, they better have a fucking OnlyFans link connected to that. They better have full dick out whenever you want it.
I mean, I don't know how anybody could charge more than that. Especially not with what we're giving away. Or I don't know how people could charge that. How are you charging $10 for your 6 bets on Patreon when you could have ever wanted?
That doesn't make any sense
it's all
to
right.
me.
Well, we have, I know how it makes sense. We have well over 2,000 premium members, and all those people have like 150. And it's just because at a certain point, the value is just so incredible, it makes sense. WeOwnPicks.com, click become a member. There's a couple random chats that caught my eye. Let me catch up on these really quickly. Neo said, what happens to the $100 perfect card pick? That's there. It's right. There's on your phone, you don't see it on your phone, but on desktop or if you have an iPad, there is a green button right smack at the top of our website that says make your picks. If you pick a perfect card, right, and this card has 11 fights. The caveat is there has to be at least 10. If a couple fights drop, we're not going to pay you on a 9-fight card. But if you pick a perfect card, we send you $100 as a congratulations. And there's no, you don't need to be a premium member, none of that nonsense. Click the button, make your picks. If you get them all right, we send you $100. So it is still there, big green button right smack in the middle of the screen. I don't think that shows up on mobile. It might, but I don't think that shows up on mobile.
And also, real quick, I just put in the chat my link, WeWantPicks.com/lock. You can vote for your lock of the week. We track the community lock of the week and all that good stuff. So you can click that link that I just put in there and see how you guys do.
Yeah, 100%.
Which,
you guys,
right now, community 1 and 3 since we started tracking. So they picked Crone Gracie, Brian Battle, that was a good one, Michael Johnson, and Abubakar Nurmagomedov. So,
and then Abubakar was a good pick, but didn't work out.
Good pick. He looked like fucking ass. The dude did nothing the entire fight.
I know, but he should have won that decision.
No, he should have. He did nothing.
Torque Lewitt
You're
said,
the guy that you also came into the live chat too and was like, "Oh, Johnny Munoz Jr. actually kind of looks good that round." I don't know what the fuck round you were watching. He never looked good.
The third round
when he was on his
top.
back, just like stalling.
When he was on top and Daniel Santos was on his back.
Oh, the 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's literally exactly when I wrote it.
Oh, he's looking good this round.
Torque says, "What's the most you've had in a live stream?" And it was 713 from his live stream on Saturday.
Every single week it gets more. It was the most was
that was
100,
the undoing.
and then it was 175, and then it was 215, and it was 275, and every week it's exponentially growing because I'm the best in the fucking business, baby. I mean, you guys can try and do what I do. Nobody can fucking touch me in the live streams, and everyone in here that watches the live streams knows that we have so much fun. I involve the community. Everything that I do is the best. We get the board involved. We have a good time. I have custom songs now.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree with a single thing you
said.
Say it. He literally wrote
say I'm the fucking best.
Live streamer.
And say it like in like a mysterious.
Friend, not so good. Oh, and
like
then
a
there was
mysterious
another
voice. Say you're the best. I do. Whisper it to me.
No,
Whisper it to me. I'm gonna turn my volume up. I'm gonna close my eyes. Whisper it to me.
You're a short ginger that gets sunburned walking to your car. And another question was how many times we met in real life. This isn't some random like boy band smashed together fake podcast and we met in the community. Him and I are friends in real life, and we've been friends long before this podcast. So we've hung out in real life hundreds of times, thousands of times potentially. And we have a $20 super chat from Santiago Mendez. Santiago says, "That's a perfect circle." $20 super chat. Let's move on.